Welcome everybody for today's live webinar. Again, my guest is Coter, and both of us today will discuss the backup and disaster recovery capabilities for the Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager number 4. What we prepared today, Simon? What's our plan?
At the end, first of all, I would like to see and to share with everyone attending, the great solution for backup for VMs running on OLVM. I also really love the entire integration you have done with the Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager web interface and your solution. That one is really great. And that said, obviously, as you can imagine, also our customers are now looking for backup and also disaster recovery solutions for Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager and their VMs running on top of Oracle Linux KVM. And related to the disaster recovery, the cool option or the cool thing is that, and you already know, obviously, on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, we have today the opportunity to leverage the same solution. So to leverage Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager as well as Oracle Linux KVM. And there's no technical difference between OLVM running on OCI and OLVM running on-prem. And the possible disaster recovery solution can really do the difference at that point, because the customer can evaluate to possibly leverage the cloud for also disaster recovery purposes, and everything can be directly managed and from the web interface, or directly managed by a dedicated solution for disaster recovery on OLVM and OLKVM. I can see your sons.
Yeah, my kids, they don't aware that they are on the webinar right now.
Yeah.
So okay, they don't understand what I'm talking about right now because I'm talking in English. So my plan is to go through, show you the different strategies, and this is what we spoke before, Simon. It can be a great opportunity to also discuss the cloud option for possibility, disaster recovery. So I will start with the explanation how we approach the backup, the strategies, what the vProtect stands for. But in the next section, I would like to a little bit even do some brainstorming part, what you see the future as a person who are responsible for the OLVM and also touches the Oracle Cloud. So I think we can have a really good discussion here.
Yep, sure.
Okie doke. So let's start with a few slides, then I will go to the live demo representing what actually the Storware vProtect is. So we've been seeing a huge movement into the KVM and Xen-based hypervisors. Of course, the Oracle Linux VM is the part of our strategy to protect the KVM-based hypervisors, but you can also see that we have an Oracle VM here. So both Xen and the KVM based hypervisors can be protected by the vProtect. And of course, there is a much more wider scenario. We call it freedom of choice. So actually, most of the hypervisors that are available on the market can be protected by the vProtect. But of course, the most, let's say, close to us are the oVirt, Red Hat Virtualization, and Oracle Linux VM, because we did a lot of effort to build a few strategies that allows us to have a quite interesting scenario from the backup and recovery features. So let's focus on 6 of them. So I divided the vProtect functionality into the 6 sections. The first one, we need to understand that if we'll go and protect the OLVM environments, we're talking about the VM level, agentless, full and incremental consistent backup. So it means that we don't need to install any of the agents on the client or the host itself. Of course, we'll need some VM in one of the scenarios, but we talk with the native API. So it's an API approach to provide the consistent backup to the vProtect. Then we can leverage the snapshot management capabilities. So it's not only about the backup and recovery, but we can enhance this the strategy building the snapshot management chain. We need to understand that the snapshot itself is not a full data protection. We still base on the same storage, the same repository, but we advise of most of our customers to go with this approach if they already built the backup. So option to cloning the data and taking outside the OLVM cluster. Application backup, it's quite nice approach that we decided that because we don't have the agent itself, there is the option to go via SSH inside the virtual machine and do some generic backup process for actually any application, because we can invoke any script that stays on this specific machine. And vProtect can work in two different options. We can be the fully independent island, so we can protect without any integration with the third-party platforms, but we can also integrate with the other backup vendors such as IBM, Dell EMC, or the Veritas. But you will see also the object storage backup destination, file system backup destination. We'll talk about it later. And the strength that giving us the option to integrate and visualize some backup procedures directly in the OLVM panel is the option that everything that we managing orchestrate, it's the endpoints, RESTful endpoint that are visualized but by HTML5 UI.
And that thing, the possible integration is quite interesting, because I can share with you and with everyone attending this meeting that most of the times when you talk with possible large companies, they already have an important or an escalated or a very big backup solution implementation, right? And having the opportunity to get the new architecture, possibly leveraging vProtect, and at the same time get the new architecture integrated into a central backup system is something really great. Because you can talk with customers. It could happen that while talking with your customers, they say, okay, we need to get backups with this, and there's no other choice, right? At that point, it means that it's something possible by leveraging vProtect, just because you can get the backup solution for your OLVM and Oracle Linux VM integrated into the customer backup solution. And obviously, as Paweł said, vProtect can also work alone. So vProtect does not need any other backup solution to perfectly work, but having this option is really quite important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our strategy is to give in a choice. Yes. So we're saying to our customers that on the left you can actually protect whatever you want, but the really important part is that where you will choose your destination. So it's even more important how we actually backing up. We in most cases starting with the file system, but we can use also some virtual VTL deduplication appliances like data domain, Exagrid. But our favorite, let's say, choice in last actually more than 1 year is to using the video. Is a native, is the open dedup library that is available in the CentOS distribution, also in the Oracle Linux. So we can do the inline dedup with the K4 block with the compression. But also when we will start discussion with Simon about some disaster recovery capabilities with the cloud, we need to be aware that there is also other cloud object storage vendors that we support in. It's quite old, I see. I don't know why. It should be the Oracle Cloud, of course, here. It's still 2019, so there's some old stuff here. But for sure, we missed Oracle here on the website. You will find it, and you will see the networker Veritas on IBM. From the scalability point of view, we'll discuss the strategies, but it's important to understand that if you will start it with a small installation like 2-5 hosts, we divided our architecture into two major components. You have a node and you have a server. Node itself doing we call it dirty job, is doing a backup and all of the data movement. So connect Oracle Linux VM and putting the data into the backup destination that we are configured. The server itself is orchestrate all of the information and has the RESTful API to communicate with the third-party platforms. Of course, you have two options. You can scale out or scale in. So we can add more resources to individual node, but if you have a geolocation or dispersed branches all over the world, maybe there will be a need to have multiple nodes, like Italy, Poland, Germany, France, US, but single point and single pane of glass to manage all of your backups. You'll see that this approach can be totally changed because using the plugin, because in most cases the users won't have the option. They don't need to jump out between the UIs, but they can manage everything from the Oracle Linux VM web UI. So it's given a huge advantage if we'll talk about the ease of use and self-service restoration. And going a little bit deeper here, you will see that the node has the different capabilities than the server. Server itself, the major goal is to orchestrate, manage. So you can see that the blue, I forgot the color, Simon. the blue one is the management. I was looking like, what's the color in English? But we also keep the catalog database. So we tracking all of the backups and keep in MariaDB database on the server side. And the node, as you see, have a different connectors to virtual and workloads, containers workloads, or the remote OS. So it will be our application backup. We always taking the data by the green line, taking on our staging space. We'll talk about it later. But we need to first store it in temporary space, then decide where to put. The biggest advantage that we've seen, even if we are comparing against other vendors, it's really easy integration. So this is what Simon said. It's crucial, especially for the bigger customers, when they look into to integrate their ecosystem into the one management platform. So let's talk about the three different strategies. The first one that we've seen is to use disk attachment. It means that our node need to be installed or the Oracle Linux VM cluster. So it must be one of the VMs. And the disk attachment actually means that we doing a snap. We are asking for the disk. We attaching this disk to the node. And the node is transferring this data to the specific backup destinations. Actually, good information is that we have a disk exclusion support. There is no additional cloning required, and we're using the latest OLVM oVirt API 4. There was a first strategy but we do not using it, and it's actually deprecated. It's the export storage domain. I didn't mention because in most cases we go into the disk attachment approach or disk image transfer API approach, which can be used also in the other distribution based on the oVirt. But you can see here that the good news, we do not need any node on the cluster itself. So the node can be outside the OLVM cluster. And this means that we're using the oVirt community and the Oracle OLVM, using it from the 4.2 versions. So it means that we can directly transfer the data with this API. There's an incremental backup option, so it's good that we can use the full and incremental. But the cons are that all of the data are going through the manager. So keep in mind that if you don't have manager work with a huge bandwidth and good network configuration, it can be your bottleneck. The most common usage that we've seen, and we actually built our own strategy for bigger environments like 50, 100 hosts, is to using the SSH transfer. Cons is that we built our own snapshot merge, so we have our own change block tracking philosophy here, but we can directly go in via SSH to individual hosts that working on OLVM, and we can actually grab, snap, and send this data from the host directly to the node on the number of the nodes. The huge advantage here is that we can use, we are using from the load balancing point of view and a performance point of view is the most advanced option, because every host, OLVM host, actually is working for the backup, and then they can help transfer the data into the one or few nodes. The latest installation that we got, it's roughly about 100 hosts using this SSH transfer. Even customers said that because we are working in a secure network, we can disable the SSH because it's giving us the encryption option. So it's a little bit slower down the transfer. So we used and built for them the option to send the data via even netcat. So we've seen that in a 10 gig environment, during a backup, we took actually 100% of every host to send the full or in the incremental backup. So this is the most common usage that we've seen, but of course, depends on your environment. You can choose the disk attachment approach, the disk image transfer API approach, or the SSH transfer. All of them, they have some pros and cons, but in the end, we are, let's say, giving you the choice which better and which option you should go. Of course, we are always advising when we analyzing your environment. Okay, always use the because agentless, always use in OLVM, especially only the 4 API. Do not go in the 3. Also keep in mind that by default we're using the crash consistent backup, but we can also go with the pre and the post snapshot methodology to enables you to use or QS or freeze the database. Next, because I would like to have more time for the live demo, in OLVM, it's crucial, and we advise you to using the tags or the regular expressions. So we build in the policies, and based of the tags or regex, you have the option to auto assign your virtual machines into vProtect policies. So it gives you the brilliant opportunity to
so what you manually see is
go on.
So my calculation from the emails you forwarded in the beginning from Sachi, and the calculation I made is that 3
Francisco, you are not muted,
new, and the rest is renewal. So okay, like
maybe you can mute.
No worries,
Francisco. Okay.
No worries. I thought there's a question. So coming back, using tags or regex gives you the ability to auto assign your VMs to the specific policy. It will be really easy to manage if you have 100 or even 1,000 environments. And always we advising to go into the 3-to-1 rule. So keep at least 3 copies of your data, store 2 backups copies on a different device on storage media, and keep at least 1 backup copy offsite. So we'll show you the best strategy here, how to cope with it. To go into the application backup, I mentioned before, you will see the way that we can use the SSH connectors to go inside the specific VM, and there is also option to just create the different arguments that will allows you to actually protect whatever you want based on the scripts or the arguments that you will prepare. We also prepared some templates, like for the MariaDB, Postgres, Oracle, to communicate with the airman, to help admins to cope with these challenges with the application backup. And also you can see here that you can specify if you would like to export the data directly to the file, or maybe you would like to stream this data straight away to the vProtect. I mentioned about some templates. Here you can see MySQL, for example, templates that we prepared some arguments that you need to just to fill in with the proper value. But then the key is to be as generic as possible. So if you are a much more advanced user, you will love this scenario, how to do it. Of course, it's a little bit more complicated because you don't have the agents. So you need to understand the what's going on behind the scenes from the data protection perspective, as a, for example, DB admin or DB user. Okay, so we know how to automate the and assign machines to the policy. In the latest release, we also prepared the new feature called recovery plans, which allows us actually to automate the process of them of the restoration. So in case of huge disaster recovery, if the data loss occur, you can automate, let's say, hundreds of the VMs and give the priority which one of them should be restored at the beginning, and who should wait till the, let's say, the priority will stop. The recovery plans will allow you also to create some test scenarios. So it's also a brilliant opportunity to automate your disaster recovery testing. Always, I just advising you to see that we have the certified and integration with the data domain. It's one of the most common dedupe appliances that we've seen with our solution, but also because of a really good cooperation with the IBM, with the other vendors, there is an option to take and integrate the vProtect server with the third-party platforms like IBM and the others. Why there is a many question why we using from time to time even the competition from us is the technology partners. We've seen the need that if we have an enterprise customer and they have a OLVM or the oVirt environments, they don't want to replace their own legacy backups, and they're looking for the solution like vProtect, who can help them achieve the data protection for the OLVM environments without replacing the existing backup system. So keep in mind that we can work as an independent island, but we can also be add-on or the media server to ingest the data into the other technologies. Object storage is important. We'll discuss it later on with Simon. I will not go through the licensing model because I don't want to sell. I want to show you the technology. But please keep in mind, if you will go on our website, on a Storware, you can start to play with this solution from free. There is a limitation to 10 virtual environments. So please feel free to play with it, giving us a feedback. There is a huge amount of the interest in OLVM and the oVirt space. Lots of satisfied customers that they play with our technology. Okay. Of course, if you would like to have more information, just put vProtect documentation on a Google, and you will find the documentation that stays on a GitHub and a Gitbook. So it's open, so without any registration, you can see what's behind the scene and what specific feature we are proposing to the market. Okay. 4 things on a demo that you will see is always how I will show you how to add the OLVM cluster. Then I will show you how to set it up, the policy and a schedule. Then we will play with the backup and recovery feature. And in the end, I will show you the module, how to do it without actually using the vProtect UI. Will do it everything from the UI plugin that we built for the oVirt and OLVM installations. Simon, anything you would like to add before I will move forward?
No, I'm perfectly good. Maybe something that we forgot to say at the beginning. It's related to the other webinar that we had. Yeah, maybe 3-4 weeks ago, where people can get all the possible updates related to Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager, so OLVM 4.3 release that we announced at the beginning of April. And obviously this release today has all the possible requirements in terms of API that Storware vProtect would like to see to get all the possible options available in terms of backup and recovery. Yep.
Yes, sure. There's a question, but rated to me privately. There are support for HPE store ones. If the store ones will given us the NFS sharing, it's not a problem for the integration. We got the link from the last webinar, Simon, for free. So we definitely advise you, if you haven't been on the last webinar, to just click on this link and have the access to the latest one. We've been talking about all of the new features in the OLVM for free, and there's a lot of them.
Yep.
Okay, so you should right now see my my vProtect screen. So I will just log in. So I will grab maximum, hopefully 10 minutes, not more, because I would like to also, Simon, if it's possible, to present all of the audience that we have the option to easily deploy the OLVM in Oracle Cloud and have this open discussion what the future can bring for the both companies in case of integration. Okay.
Yep, sure.
So I will still not more than 10 minutes, and I will push the screen to you. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. So like I said, in most cases, what we need to do, we have our Oracle Virtualization Manager installed here. Let me log in. Honestly, it's my bad because I haven't updated to the latest version, and I shouldn't, and I should. But I have a version for 2. I need to upgrade after this webinar. So what we need to do, team, is that we can see that the address is the OLVM -m storware.local. So when I'm the backup admin, only one thing to attaching and talk by the API is going to the hypervisors, find my environment, and it's already added. You can see here the OLVM Storware local / oVirt engine / API, and I need to provide the username, which has a credential to doing an inventory or doing a snapshot. And in most cases, I'm just adding the admin, and most of our customers are doing this. And here you can choose the strategy, which one you should be used. We spoke about the 3 of them. I just use the disk image transfer because, as you know, there is no need to install the node on the cluster itself. If I would choose the disk attachment, the node should be there. So I don't have it on my demo. That's why I'm choosing the disk image transfer. and the SSH. If we have the SSH, of course, we should provide below the proper password. So after I added, okay, go on here. I just need to do the first job task, so sync inventory. So I have here the task manager. So I actually see that my inventory right now is running. I just need at least 10 seconds, yes, to have it. There is the information that it's finished, inventory synchronization. So it means that I captured all of the changes from the Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. So let me do the, let's try to do the tag. Let's go to the tag, add tag called vProtect. Yeah, got the tag. Then I will assign this VM to a specific tag. Yeah, vProtect. Yeah, it's assigned. Then I will go back and I will create a policy. So after I created the hypervisors, I will find this machine, Alpine. Alpha Linux is here, it's Alpha Linux. It's not in the policies, so we do not have been decided, and it's not calculated to the success ratio in a daily basis. But after I will create the policy, I will name the policy as OLVM. Production, for example, OLVM production. And here I have auto assignment. So I can choose that if my machine will use the tag, I can automatically assign to it. Or if I will remove it after, it can be automatically removed from the policy. So I will use the assign and remove. And I will choose the tag, vProtect. I can also use the regular expressions. So I can, if for example, it started with the name or finish with the name, or it's as any letter, it can be assigned. Okay. All of the cluster I'm interested in. Is there lots of, so I don't want to miss mine. I can, of course, pick the virtual machine manually, but I will keep the tag. And the rule means that I need to choose where to store this data. I will use our own video dedupe compression on FS01. And I have a few schedules that I should assign. I will choose weekly, full, and daily incremental. There's already created schedules, so I don't have the time to create a new one. I will save it. Okay. I will come back and I will use the synchronization inventory, because it's important that after I added OLVM, these changes from the assigning the tags need to be applied. So the next inventory synchronization must be done. How often we're doing the synchronization inventory? It's based on the configuration, of course. Here I can see that synchronization inventory is doing every 8 hours. But of course, on a demo, I don't want to wait, so I just click it. And in the policies, let me find. Where's my policy? I don't see too many. Okay. You can see here that in my OLVM policy, there's only 10, and I have more than 10 policy. That's why I haven't seen on this website. So you can see that it's already 2 machines, Actually, I'm guessing that the other hypervisors also use the backup tag, so it was automatically assigned to it. Average size of the VMs are 64 gig. I will try to use the backup. Honestly, I don't know what. Oh, you can see there is two machines, Alpine Linux and the CentOS VM important. Let's go with it. Let's try to do the incremental and just doing the backup. There is jobs that is started, actually two jobs. So one of them are the OLVM. The second one is a Citrix. I know the name, but let's move on. In case of data restoration, there is option to just, so let's go here. We should see that our machine, yeah, just you have seen that we just do the snap. If I will go to the details, yeah, the snapshot is made by vProtect, and right now we should exporting, yes, the data to vProtect to the specific backup destinations that we are prepared. There, like I said, there is lots of possibilities from the object storage to local file system or any NFS that is attached to the node to the other backup vendors. So right now I'm using the video here to send the data. From the restoration point of view, there is an option to grab, let me find my Alpine OLVM. Let me click restore. From the restoration point of view, you can grab some snap. You can see that the first backup was actually done before I started the presentation. So we can restore it because I have right now more distributions from based on the oVirt. You can see that I'm choosing the proper one, so OLVM, and I can choose a disk and specify what should be the name after the restoration. Okay, so let's backup is working. Yeah, it's working fine, already finished. So what I will do right now, because I haven't updated my Oracle Linux VM to the version 4.3, which is a little bit pity. So I couldn't use the plugin. So I will represent you the plugin on the oVirt environment itself. But so this is the same look and feel what we have here. But I just want to show you. I promise Simon the next time I will update my VM environment.
Yeah.
But I just want to show you that if my demo, of course, will work. I guess I need to. Just wait a while. No, I don't see it yet. So just give me a minute. I will work on it. So I'm guessing I will right now move the screen to you. So if you could share with us the option to actually run the OLVM in a cloud, which I'm really interested in, and then we'll have an open forum to discuss the option, the replication, and the disaster recovery option with the cloud. Okay?
Yep, absolutely.
Go for it.
Yeah, thank you, Paweł. So okay.
I need to build the same virtual office as you have. Really good.
Yeah, so I'm going to start from the obviously the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure web interface, just to show the environment that I have there. So first of all, obviously, I have my Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager running there. It's actually an Oracle Cloud Infrastructure VM shape. So it's the standard 2.1 that, if I correctly remember, it's something like 2 virtual CPUs and 15 GB of RAM. And that said, I have 2 different Oracle Linux KVM compute nodes. One is obviously a bare metal, where I have 52 cores and maybe 700 and something gigabyte of memory. But the cool option is that on top of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, you can even run and manage KVM hypervisor into a nested hypervisor. So I have a KVM host running on a virtual machine. And the virtual machine running on the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, so this one, dense.io, also means that I'm leveraging NVMe storage, NVMe local storage on the same. Yeah, the important or the cool option is that I can run my KVM servers by leveraging bare metal systems, where maybe I can decide to, for example, to run production environments. I can also decide that I just need maybe a lower capacity in terms of resources, or in terms of CPUs and amount of memory, and so I can decide to run my own KVM hypervisor on a VM shape. So those are the 3 environments, and this is my OLVM running on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So yeah, the IP is clear and is there, but it does not mean that you can reach the same. So it's a public IP, but obviously the same is closed by proper Oracle Cloud security rules. So it's available only for me, actually. So do not try to get access. You won't be able. Yeah, that said, this is my Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager running on the Oracle Cloud. As you can see, I have 4 VMs running over there. And for each VM, obviously, I have a private IP address. So on OCI, obviously, we have the concept of VCN, so Virtual Cloud Network. And into a VCN, you can define all the possible subnets that you want. I created a couple of subnets that are dedicated to my KVM VMs. One of them is 10.02/24, and the other 10.03/24. Yeah, and obviously here I added, I personally added a comment because it's very helpful to see the public IP address of each VM running on my, if you want, we can call it private cloud on public cloud. Yeah, let's see a bit the networking, the network stuff that we have on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So as already said, we have the concept of VCN, so the Virtual Cloud Network. And here we have different subnets that are defined, right? So we have a subnet named OCI. This kind of subnet is dedicated to the management network. At the end, the communication or the internal communication between the Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager and the Oracle Linux KVM compute nodes. That said, we have a subnet dedicated to the Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager web service exposure. So where, at the end, you can get access to Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager web interface, or even SSH, any kind of possible connection to your Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. And that said, here I have 2 subnets created, as already said, dedicated to VMs, right? And those are the 2 subnets that at the end are really leveraged by my VMs running on top of Oracle Linux KVM. Now, I want to just show the networking options that you have on while running OLVM or Oracle Linux KVM on the cloud. Let's start from the bare metal system. So this one. On the bare metal system, you have the option to create virtual NICs. As you can see here, you can have more virtual NICs associated to a specific bare metal system. Those virtual NICs, or the virtual NICs that you can see here, are really virtual functions enabled on the physical network interface on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. What does it mean? It means that while getting, for example, this bare metal system, and as you can see, this is an Oracle Server X72L. I have 104 threads enabled on the system. And if I check on the network interfaces, I can decide to show the virtual functions. Virtual functions are really the virtual functions that are available on the system by leveraging the CNA that is there, so the convergent network adapter that is there on the Oracle server. So at the end, there is a real connection between what you can do on OLVM and what are the networking options available on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. On Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, you can create a virtual NIC, decide which will be the subnet associated to the virtual NIC. Once done from the Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager web interface, you can also decide to manage those virtual functions, right? So I can decide, for example, that the vNIC01 of my VM3 is going to be associated to the virtual function EMP70S2, right? So here I have all the possible virtual functions available on the system, and the steps are create the virtual NIC on OCI and get the virtual NIC associated to the virtual function that is there on the system. And this is something valid for the bare metal system. That said, I have also another options. I have the option to run VMs into a nested hypervisor. So on top of an Oracle Cloud Infrastructure VM shape. And as you can see here on this KVM host, I only have 16 threads available. The system is a virtualized one, as you can see from here. So it's able to understand it's not a physical environment. And on the networking stuff, here, the logic is quite different. Again, on the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, let's see now the VM shape. So let's get OLKVM02. If I check on attached VNICs, again, here I have the option to add more VNICs, like on the bare metal system. But obviously, those VNICs are not virtual functions because I'm not working on a bare metal system, I'm working on a VM shape. So those VNICs are already leveraged by another hypervisor in the background. But this kind of thing does not mean that I can imagine the networking for my VMs running on top. I can do it. The only difference is related on how you are going to create the logical network on OLVM. So let's see now. So those are the device available on this VM that is acting as my KVM hypervisor. Let's see now on the networking stuff. On the networking stuff, I have my networks created here. Those are the virtual NICs or the virtual functions created on the bare metal system. I can see it. I can see that there is a specific VNIC profile. And the VNIC profile reports pass-through. Pass-through means that the VM will leverage the hardware or the physical virtual function. So, or better, the virtual function that is there on the bare metal system. And this is for the bare metal. While working on nested VMs, so while running KVM on a Oracle Cloud VM, I have the option to create another type of VNIC on OLVM, that is the port mirroring. That means that I'm really creating a virtual NIC that is mirroring the one available on my KVM host. This is how it works. So two options, bare metal, leverage virtual functions. If I'm going to run KVM on a nested VM, I can mirror ports and get my VMs integrated into the networking stuff of the Oracle Cloud. That said, obviously, everything else, like for example, the storage can be integrated on Oracle Cloud. I have block volumes that at the end are iSCSI storage. I have NFS. I also have block storage that maybe Paweł will show later today. Maybe, yeah, just a quick example.
So I can imagine that the best scenario is you can choose the bare metal or the nested, but I imagine that one of the nodes actually stays on the let's say on your data center, and the next one is in your disaster recovery. Because if we doing a restoration in a vProtect, we need to choose which node will actually take the part of the data. And if we'll replicate the storage itself behind the scenes, so node will see the same directory. It doesn't matter if it's on premise or in a cloud. So we can easily see that in case of, let's say, disaster recovery capabilities, I can allow the server side to restore the data not from the local node, but the node in the nested or the bare machine virtualization in the Oracle cloud.
Yeah, right. And obviously on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, we have different regions worldwide. You can even think to run primary on a region that could be in the US and your standby or recovery site in EMEA on another Oracle Cloud region. So you have different options there. Yeah, I was going just to show the VM, and then I'll get back to you, Paweł, so you can show us the integrated backup solution. So let me just share very quickly the terminal. Yeah, so I'm using now the virtual IP address that is there on the VM, right? Obviously, this is the public IP address that is exposed by Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Services, but the IP address of the VM is this one. So 10.02.101, and if I go back to the web interface, you will see that this one is the real IP address on the VM. So this one is the public IP address. Sorry, this is the public IP address exposed by Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Services. This one is the real internal IP address leveraged by the VM. Yeah, that said, there is maybe last but not least, there is a community article. I'm going to share the URL now on the chat that is dedicated on how to run and manage Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager on the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Back to you, Paweł.
Okay. Thank you. That was fast. Good, because we have 5 minutes more. So what I can imagine is that we can easily take the approach that we have two separate nodes. One is on your local data center, and the second one of the vProtect node, it stays on the Oracle cloud. And we have a choice if it will be nested virtualization or not. First, I need to show you the approach that wasn't work before I switched to you. I just needed to call the API. So in OLVM, from the version 4.3, you have the option to upload the dedicated module that allows you to see the new tab. It's called VM Backup. And you can see the 5 different menus. The first one is the dashboard. So exactly what most of the things that you've seen on our dashboard in a vProtect are visible here. The next one is more important, is the virtual machines. And here you can easily, you can plan your backup. You can choose if it's full or incremental, where the backup should go. And here we have 2 choices. Let's imagine that you configure your local storage, but you can also configure your storage that is in a cloud. And it can be the S3 compatible in the Oracle cloud, but also it can be the NFS storage, for example, exposed from the nested virtualization for any storage that stays on the Oracle cloud. So here, if we'll do the full, and of course then the chains of the incremental, we submitted the task. This task should also be applied to the vProtect. So I will go for a second to the vProtect. You should see that this task is already running. So the vProtect understood what we mentioned as what we wanted to do. And in case of data restoration, like let's take this up on Linux, if we have more than one node then you will have a dedicated option bar to choose the different nodes. So imagine that you send the data directly to the different location, and after that you would like to restore it not by local node, but you can choose the different node that is responsible to take in the data, and then you can choose the different, for example, OLVM cluster that is actually attached to the system. Promise that I will have the full configured scenario, so I need to a little bit more play with it. But from the technology perspective, I don't see any constraints that that shouldn't allows us to make this scenario working. The key point is that we have both options, Simon. So it's good that we have a bare machine, but also the nested virtualization. So from my perspective, I don't care about what's going on behind the scenes. I just need to have the connection to the OLVM manager. And the rest will be done by the API, so I can easily transfer the data, come back to, let me pick some snapshot. Let me choose the storage. So let's take this one, new name, VM R1. Let's restore it. So you should see the separate tasks.
Yeah, and you know, this kind of solution also opens to a huge list of opportunities in terms of our architecture. You can decide to run OLVM and KVM on-prem and get the possible development or test environment running on the Oracle Cloud, and leverage, for example, vProtect to possibly backup production environments and get the same restored on the development environment running on the Oracle Cloud. If the bandwidth could be a problem, you can even evaluate to run everything on the Oracle Cloud and possibly leveraging 2 different regions, where at the end your VMs will be, your production VMs can run in Phoenix region, for example, for the Oracle Cloud, and the standby side, or the standby side that can also act as development or quality environment. And over there, you can have, for example, the backups of your production VMs saved. And the development or quality environment is on another Oracle Cloud region. Can be Ashburn, can be London, can be Frankfurt. And you can think to leverage the bandwidth that is there between the Oracle Cloud regions for this kind of purpose.
The next one will be focus how to do it not only on the file system level or the NFS level, but we will try to play with it. What if we'll send the data to the Oracle Infrastructure Cloud via S3? But we need to little bit R&D how we can expose this data later on into the Oracle OLVM environment. I don't see the problem because there are file connectors that they transfer the object storage into the file system. But we need to play with it. But I think this is the subject for the next session that we can prepare.
Yep, sure.